Villa fans, I have a treat for you today. An exclusive interview with Guillem Balague. We're talking all things Aston Villa, Unai Emery, Monchi's departure, Roberto Olabe and Rise of the Villans. Guillem Balague's brand new book. And we're also going to be talking about the event that Guillem Balague is hosting at the Witton Arms as well, that you can all attend. And it's going to be a fantastic evening. So, with guests as well. So, stay tuned for the episode. Can you please make sure you are subscribing to the channel if you are new? Make sure you're hitting that like button. Let's go big on this one. Big exclusive. Let's go 1,500 likes and hype the episode up and comment your thoughts. Enjoy the show. Up the Villa. Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. Today I have a very special guest. Guillem Balague is on the channel today and he's going to be talking about his brand new book. How are you, Guillem?
I'm all right. Yeah, happy to talk about the book in the middle of the stormy weather. You want to call it like that?
I think the book, I reckon it was quite easy to write. I mean, page 9, we've got a quote from myself that said, "I thought I knew football, Luke confesses, but Emery has shown me things I never imagined. He's transformed us." And I mean, with quotes like that, Guillem, it must be pretty easy to write a book.
That's it. I mean, I just put a bunch of quotes and put it together, and 500 pages come out. I know you're tongue in cheek, but I tell you that it was important to me that the fans were heard, and I admitted from the beginning that I didn't know enough about Villa. So how do you find out about Villa? Reading about it, experiencing it, talking to you and others. I wanted to make a big deal out of talking to creators, because these are the people that, like yourself, that you have to think about the club a lot, which means that your knowledge becomes deeper. Obviously, closely emotionally related to the club, that was important as well. But you may not realize that when you are so close, you may not be able to see certain things, like the context in which you are now. But at the same time, you're able to see many more things that I couldn't unless I talked to you. So I felt starting the book with you and other content creators and fans was a good idea.
Yeah, it's to be honest, like, I've been on like lots of different things like the overlap and etc. And actually being in a book, I mean, I know I'm only a small little bit, but it's great and an honor to be in a book. And I think the main question for me, and I think he's probably the best question I've got, is that what made you want to tell the Unai Emery and Aston Villa story?
You have to talk, if you want the answer, you have to talk about my book career, if you like. Being a writer means that sometimes the subject chooses you, and others you just find it by accident, or somebody suggests us, and this was a little bit like having finished the Maradona book. We looked around with the publishers, Orion, who have been my publishers from day one, and thought, all right, who's out there that is in an interesting adventure? One that will last, and one that will be interesting to tell. And there was an Aston Villa fan in the in Orion offices, and it's like, it has to be Aston Villa and Unai Emery. And sometimes, and it happened to me with Pochettino as well, you are so close to the subject that you think, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure. But then I started looking at both Unai and his story, and also what Aston Villa were doing. I thought, wow, this is extraordinary. This hasn't been done before, both in terms of the role that the manager has at this particular time in the history of football, but also in how Villa were trying to jump from where they were to a new place, which you got to. And obviously, were those the foundations for a healthy future? So all those questions were in my pocket, and then started traveling and talking to people, and hopefully I came up with enough answers.
What was your biggest surprise with Aston Villa?
I didn't know. Look, I've been in England since 1991, and I can tell you a lot about London. I can tell you a lot about Merseyside where I lived, um, but I couldn't tell you that much about the Midlands and Birmingham. I knew it was a massive city. I knew it was a mixture of cultures, but I did not know really what Aston Villa stood for and who were the Aston Villa fans. And of course, you cannot generalize, but what you get to know is things that everybody carries with them. Every Aston Villa carry with them, and also how alive the club is. It must be one of the clubs with the biggest amount of content creators, with the biggest amount of different cultures represented in the club, by the club, and around the club, and that made it really really interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of immigration linked to Villa. There is Aston, the district itself. Um, there is, of course, how Brummies see themselves, and as I keep saying, yes, you are a half empty bottle people, but that keeps you grounded. And of course, I'm sure, in fact, that researching the sociological part of it, I know that comes from somewhere. There's a source of that pessimism, if you like, or realism, others will call it. So all of that was new to me, but that's part of the charm of doing a book. You come out with plenty of white pages. You got an idea where you want to go, but then you let yourself go, and that's what's happened in the last year and a half. I came in with a couple of ideas of what should happen. Obviously, I've got friendships in that club, and I think they just got together some of my best friends in football. And that was great to see, and obviously help with the access. But at a time where clubs are very aware of their image, the value and the cost of their image, it was absolutely fantastic that I was given open doors to talk to people at any time and visit the training ground and ask all kinds of questions without asking for anything in return, nothing in return. So I am happy with what has come out because it's, in my eyes, a true reflection of the amount of things, the huge amount of things that are happening inside Aston Villa.
When we met, I reckon it must have been at the start of the journey of the book. Why was that important for you to meet the fans and to meet people that can give you more information rather than you sourcing that information yourself? Why was that important?
I've been in football a long time, and I know how managers think, how directors think, how people in the camp think generally. I'm talking generally, not personalizing on anybody, but generally, they tend to live in their world, which is a small, complex, and elite world, and they don't look outside that world. So I had the access to that world, which was great, and obviously the thing that makes the book. But I wanted to look outside. I wanted to see how people around the club think and how that has evolved in recent times. Is the book is, I have to say it now, two in one. It's the biography of Unai, which I call The Lion, and then the second part is called The Pride, which of course could be the pride of the club or the people around the club, but it's also a bunch of lions. So it worked really well to do what I wanted to do, which was a 365 picture of the club. So there are stories about last season, but it's not about last season. It's an opportunity to explain how the director of communication works. What does the secretary do? The player liaison boss do? Who does he work with? How do every people that have been at the club for a long time? How do they relate with the new people? And amongst all that search for knowledge, obviously an angle of it was the fans, and very often dismissed as clients or simply dismissed, not heard. But in this book, anyway, I just wanted to make sure that I started with them and that you actually set the journey. Remember, I asked in that conversation, just give me questions that I wouldn't know the answer of, and then we can put them out there during the season. And I think I've answered all of them because those questions were put to the right and the relevant people.
Yeah, one of my main things that I wanted to find out about was how Unai Emery works, and you've nailed it. And just talk to me a little bit about Unai then, because did you know Unai before, or did you go into it not knowing each other? I mean, he'd obviously know who you are, but were you friends or not?
So Unai is possibly the manager I've spoken the most in my career. I remember organizing a first interview in English when he was at Valencia, which obviously was, primitive English. He hadn't developed it yet. But it was quite funny because we had to go almost like word by word, record word by word to actually come out with a few sentences that went into Sky when I was doing Spanish football in Sky. And since then, I've conversed with him because he was the first one to say this to me. You are a manager's writer. You are a manager's journalist. You are interested about the players. And of course, I've written about Maradona or Messi, Ronaldo. But it's the managers I'm interested in the most in between books, if you like. And also I've written about Pochettino, Pep Guardiola, and now Unai and Rafa Benitez. So, he kind of placed me in the role that almost unconsciously I had started developing, and then perhaps after he said it, I focused on, because you learn much more sitting down with managers, and I was at every turn of his journey, following very closely. Sometimes just to know what was going on, others to tell the story, and what I didn't know is that relationship was going to become a book. But I'm glad that it has, because even though, as I said, I've been speaking to him for decades, there was a lot of things that I didn't know about how he worked and how he changed. One of the biggest surprises of the book is that he was touching success and winning titles, and at that point he said, "No, this is not the way. Football is going a different way, and I'm going to change with it." Wow. I don't know many managers that would do that, and he did it successfully at Villarreal. So those things I wasn't aware of until I obviously went deep into it, and I think the friendship, whatever you want to call it, the mutually respected admiration that we have for each other, I think that's gone deeper, and it certainly helped with the book.
And Emery's got a close-knit partnership with Vidagani and Monchi. And I've got to ask you this because obviously Monchi has left Aston Villa and Unai's got Olabe, who he's been with before at various points in his career. How do you now think this is going to develop with Emery and the new sort of partnership going forward? Because obviously this isn't going to be in the book. So what are your thoughts on that partnership coming back together?
The thing is, it is in the book.
Okay.
Because, there's a lot of Roberto Olabe in the book. And it is because I knew they wanted to work together at some point, and I managed to talk to Roberto Olabe, who, of course, was his director of football at Almeria. And that conversation I had with Roberto Olabe told me a lot about young Unai, but they both have evolved, one at Real Sociedad and the other one traveling away. And it opened my eyes, because Roberto is a thinker as well as a footballman. And it opened my eyes about how Unai thinks. Sorry. I'm not getting emotional like yesterday. I'm just going to sneeze in a minute now. Anyway, so let me just have a. So with Roberto, the conversations are very deep, very intense, and very deep. So he gave me so many new angles about why Unai does what he does, why he evolved. Obviously, it was very clear that they both get on so well, he was they had opportunities in the past to work together, but it hadn't happened. And that, as I said, at some point it would happen, so it's going to happen. And that's going to be interesting because while Monchi was more, how can I put it? He put in practice the ideas of Unai, as in look for the profile that Unai required. But Roberto Olabe can add to the philosophy, if you like, to the idea, to the big idea, as well as doing his job as choosing players. But I understand that Unai wants things to happen now. Roberto offers a bigger picture, if you like, and that could be a very interesting combination going forward. Because obviously Unai is going nowhere. The let me say this: the hysterical reaction to Monchi leaving to the beginning of the season. I don't know how to describe. Well, I've described it already as hysterical, but it helps me not to. I've got a soft spot for Aston Villa now, having worked with them, and I knew all the people that were there at the club, but especially with the ones that are there now. And there's many people at the club that have helped me, and I will always be eternally grateful. But it helps me to be distant, emotionally distant, because I can see the rise. And I'm so glad the book is called that. I can see the rise. And nobody said it was going to be a straight line with an upward trajectory. Nobody said that. And I'm seeing more and more people that just want to see the end of the movie. Are we going to be in Europe? Are we going to be relegated? Is Unai staying? Is Damir going to go? What's going to happen? It's like, wait, at what point did you stop enjoying the journey? At what point you stop asking yourself, oh, Unai has got a problem here. Let's see how he solves it. Because he's proven quite clearly that he can solve it. Nobody's asking that. They just want to know the end of the movie. They don't seem to care about what happens in the games. They just want the results. So I tell you what, we should set up a web page. It's already there, I suppose, with results. Just the result on the goal scorers, and give it to these people that just don't want to know anything about what happens in the process, what happens with the process, who are the people that don't take decisions, why do they take those decisions? Those kind of things is what it makes me interested as a fan. But no, people just want to know now when you're going to be in 7 months' time. Yeah.
Guillem, I think we need you on regular. I think we need more of this. I think it will help a lot, and it echoes everything you're saying. He's out exactly how I view Aston Villa and Unai Emery and the journey, and the rise. I mean, we're still rising. I think that's the main point of, like you're saying, that we haven't reached the destination. We're just trying to grow, and I think we've Monchi leaving, how you're describing it should give hope for the future of Aston Villa, that there's a different type of plan and a little bit of a freshen up. But I want to touch on just your experience at the Champions League games. What did you make of sort of seeing what Villa were on the big occasion?
Wow, it was a privilege to be there. It was a privilege to be in key games. I mean, obviously, the first ones that come to mind is the PSG game, the Bayern Munich game. But generally, having been to most of the Champions League games, it was an army of people going into the stadium in search of memories. The expectations were not, can we win? Was like, let's see what the team gives us. And let's see what we get out of it. And the faces coming out of it. I mean, you were so proud of the team after the PSG victory, even though you were knocked out. So proud of having made it there. So proud of having created new memories. And that's something you're going to read Unai say in the book. He's in football to create memories for himself or other people. And there will be somebody that would say, no, title, he's got to get the title now. He's got to get this, he's got to get that. But at the end, really, what is there left what is there left after a game, after a result, after a season, after a title? Bad memories. And I think that's a little bit what the book is about as well. Talk about the mandalas at the beginning and how is that perfect design with sand um, of the monks that once it's been designed, they destroy it and they create another one. That's what football coaches do. They spend a whole week or 5 days or 3 days, whatever it is, preparing a game, and then there's a performance and a result, and that's it, and start over. And that is what makes football fascinating. I understand that a lot of people, as I said, want black and white, simple answers. That's partly down to the clubs in general, football in general, having closed the doors to them. They don't have access, and because they don't have access, everything gets much more simpler. You don't know who the manager is really. It's just the guy that has lost a game or won a game. So then, if he's lost many games, you want him out, and if he's won lots of games, you want him to stay. But how about if you find a place like the book and other books where it tells you who these people are and what they're aiming for and what they feel when you feel the same, and what is football about for them. I think if you get to read on that, you will see football a little bit different. I hope that will be a massive success, and I'm sure not every reader will go through that, but I just hope that many do, and find new ways of looking at the whole thing.
Well, I know my audience on here, and I know Villa fans, and I know that they will be listening to every single word you say, because you are one of these people that when you speak, people listen, and Villa fans can go out and purchase this book, and I will put the link to it in the description of the video. But we can also hear more from you, Guillem. So talk to us about the events that you are putting on for fans to come and hear more from you.
I've got a couple in the Midlands, but the one that I'm interested about, because it's coming soon, is the 15th of October. As you can see, you've got Sam and James. Sam, the musician, who was in that meeting that we had, and James, who's a comedian and also an Aston Villa fan, will join other guests, including Andy Townsend and Stilian Petrov, who's not in the poster because it just got confirmed. So Petrov is going to be there. And also, I've asked the club to lend me for a couple of hours people from within the club, like Tommy Jordan, head of communications, like Phil Roscoe, the head of player liaison, like Michael Baike, who is the head of the cuisine, head chef. These are people that have got amazing stories of their time there, and of Unai, and they some of them have been there for a long time. Others arrive after Unai, and they all have a vision of the club that you don't get to see or hear about. So I'm hope that you can join us at the Witton Arms on the 15th of October. There will be some merchandise. I created a T-shirt for it. There will be books to sign. I think both Petrov and Andy would stand around and sign things if people bring things as well. And the idea is the money that gets raised will be going for a local hospital, and also for Beaglesware United, which is the football club I'm the chairman of. So I hope to have a lot of Aston Villa fans with the intention of learning even more about the club, but mostly share time talking about Aston Villa. I still got to define the structure of it, but because there's going to be a lot of people involved, and hopefully, I'll get some of you in there as well.
My final question then, are you now a Villa fan?
I'm a Beaglesware United fan, first and foremost. Historically, I'm an Espanyol fan. Recently, I've become a bit of an Aston Villa fan. And in the past, I was a Liverpool fan. So sometimes when you feel very, very close to something, you just cannot avoid it. I not only keep an eye on the results of Aston Villa, I watch the games, whatever I am, and I've got the means to do it. So yeah, it's why not? But the one that takes my attention and my heart and my love first and foremost, is Biggles United in the 9th division in Bedfordshire, in the Spartans South Midlands League.
That's amazing. Well, anyway, it's been great chatting to you. It's an honour to talk to you. I mean, I've been a massive fan of your work for many, many years. And the fact that you've been able to produce this book about, for me personally, the greatest period of my life supporting Aston Villa is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for coming on, Guillem. And Villa fans, the link to the event will be in the description and the book as well. So thank you for coming on.
I hope to see you there.
You will do.